Hello, hello. Welcome to my new show, Porn and Politics. I'm your host, Ashley Steele, and today we are going to talk about Fire and Fury. Ooh, because of course that's what everybody is still talking about. I feel like it's important to mention that I do think that this book is a little bit of a distraction. I'm not saying that I don't think it's true. I just think that there is some really important policy decisions that have happened within this administration, and that this kind of book can really detract from some of those major sweeping changes that I believe are extremely detrimental to the country. Of course, this book just kind of outlines part of the systemic issue within the Trump administration, and of course, it is completely salacious. It is scandalous. And I think that it's important to note, though, that nothing in the book is like a revelation where we go, oh my gosh, that's something I didn't know. You know, a lot of the leaks that we had coming out of the White House from staffers early on, even at one point, the Washington Post had 17 sources confirming the same event. And so we kind of heard early on the issues that were happening as far as Trump's temper, and that he didn't really want to read anything, and that they had to treat him like a child in order to get him to even pay attention. So a lot of that stuff is not surprising. It's not surprising to me that everybody thinks he's a effing idiot. Because I've heard him talk. You've listened to his speeches, and even just his vocabulary, he's not very articulate at all. He'll say, oh, it's really, really great. I don't know if he just talks like that or if he's trying to talk to his specific audience, but for someone who claims to have had this great education and to be extremely smart, I feel like he's really, really not smart. Of course, some of my favorite things are his defenses of it, where people were calling him stupid, and then of course he tweets, you know, oh, I'm like really smart, which is, it had me laughing honestly for a day, because he wrote down like I'm like really smart. And he said it before, but to write it and to look at it and to be like, yes, I'm gonna post that. It's so funny to me. Although it's also really sad, because that is the president of the United States, and wow. So anyway, as far as the book, I kind of wanted to bring up the fact that the administration said that, oh, it's like tabloid garbage and this and that. At the same time, you have Trump tweeting all these negative things about Steve Bannon, which of course was a response to the book. So again, it's either that he believes that those quotes aren't true, or he believes that they are true. And so if he thought that they weren't true, why is he attacking Bannon and saying those things if his assumption was Bannon didn't say those? Of course, Bannon did kind of come out saying, yes, I did say those things. I meant, you know, in regards to Manafort or whatever Bannon said. But I think that all that does is give more credence to the fact that those quotes are real quotes. So whether you know, he said that the treason was about something else, you know, you got to assume that all of the staff quotes and everybody else that called him a effing idiot or whatever are absolutely real quotes from people working in the White House. Again, I don't think that that's any revelation whatsoever. I just think that the way that the administration handled it has made it more sensational. So even the fact that Trump, on like the very first day or two that it had come out, first they send the cease and desist, of course, but then instead of ignoring it like most normal people would, especially if it's tabloid garbage, he tweets about it and says, oh, it's bullshit and whatever. But that just made more people want to go buy it and read it, because of course that's, you know, when you go and you start defending something, and, you know, he's basically tweeted to his whole audience about this book now, and of course they're going to want to read it, because they're going to go, well, what's he saying is not true, you know? So even I think his base is going to read that. But None of that is a surprise. He's a child. We've seen that in his behavior on his Twitter and the way that he has acted on the campaign trail, and I'm sure in office as well. The way he's treated reporters, made fun of people, acted like a bully. I mean, he very much has the psychological makeup of a 14-year-old boy. Like, there's no question about that. So it wasn't really a surprise. The other thing that I thought was very interesting, and I think is a big issue, and I believe it 100% true, and I kind of saw it on the election night when Trump gave his speech, or you just see him and he was so somber and he looked very unhappy. And that was the first thing that I noticed. And I thought it was weird. And I thought to myself, I don't think he wanted to win. It really didn't look like it. I mean, imagine that. You just fought this hard campaign and now you've become the president of the United States. This is a huge win, right? And of course, he'd never even had any policy ideas. He never told anybody, because I don't believe that he ever planned to win. I think it was all a publicity thing, right? Even now, like he just said yesterday, I believe it was, like about, oh, welcome back to the studio in the White House. Like, he thinks it's all about ratings. It's all about how many people are watching and marketing. I'm sure that he had lots of projects, or he wanted to get his Trump Towers going or whatever, and he thought that the election was going to give him a lot of publicity, right? But I don't think he ever intended to win. Of course, he never even had any policy changes. And as much as he talks like he's so great, I do believe it's overcompensation, and I think he can't possibly really feel like he could fix the country. I think it was all just a big marketing ploy that went terribly wrong. You know, I have never seen a president look that sad after winning an election. He just had this stark face on. And if you listen to his speech as well, it's kind of dark. I don't remember ever hearing a president, at least in the time that I've been alive, listening to their speech. Like, it was really, you're kind of like, oh, like, this is terrible. It wasn't his normal campaign speeches that he had been going on about. So I kind of think that, again, nothing in this book feels like a revelation. It absolutely feels like Trump didn't really want to be president. He's probably never had to work this hard in his whole life. And, you know, obviously with the schedules that have been released, I don't know that he really is working that hard. I don't know, I don't know. I think the other thing I guess I kind of wanted to bring up was that it is about ratings. And I think that part of that ratings thing, because he was on The Apprentice, or whatever, that was his show, that he thought that, oh, we have these great ratings every time I say you're fired, right? And I feel like he's kind of felt like this is just a big TV show for the American people, and that's why so many people have left his administration. That I think it's like he thinks, oh, we get tons of ratings, like such positive ratings when someone leaves the White House, when somebody's fired. I think he thinks that's what America wants him to do. You're fired, hopefully I don't get like some cease and desist for saying that. Is that copywritten or whatever? But I don't know, I think that he really thinks it's a show. In fact, there was a speech that he did, I believe it was in Arizona, after he won the election, and he continued to do this campaigning for some reason. And he was in Arizona, and he was going on about how the whole drain the swamp thing, basically he admits like, oh, I didn't like the words drain the swamp, and they told me that I should say it, and I said it, and everybody just went crazy, and so I kept saying it. And so he admits this basically to his followers, and you can hear them in the crowd going, what? They don't know how to react to it, because they're the ones that were going, yeah, drain the swamp, and the same thing happened when they said, like, lock her up. So they start chanting lock her up about Hillary. And he goes, oh, no, we don't care now. We don't care. We won, so it doesn't matter now. And again, the crowd is like, because they really think that she's a criminal and that she should be in jail, which is complete nonsense, mind you. But you go when you find these conspiracy propaganda websites, and it's all over there, all of the secret things that she did that, you know, nobody can actually verify other than the propaganda websites. So anyway, I think it's interesting. It really feels like this was a big scam by him, and that he knows it. And I feel like the whole intention was never to win. It was just to get as much publicity as possible. And you know, I don't know what to make of him making a bigger deal out of this book than it should have been. I mean, it's terrible, don't get me wrong. It is absolutely astonishing that that is the president and that this is what's happening in our country right now. But, you know, there's so many terrible policy things happening that I feel like it's such a distraction, and I feel like Trump has kind of fed that so that everybody's focusing on all of these revelations in the book, which again, I don't think it's news. I think that those are all things that we knew. It's 1,000% believable. There's nothing in there that you go, oh gosh, that doesn't seem like it's true. Of course, everything in there is like, yep, that sounds about right. Anyway, I think you should absolutely read it, but don't forget to pay attention to the other stuff that's happening as far as the fights in the White House, net neutrality, the immigration stuff that's going on right now, the DACA and the El Salvadorians, and I mean, it's a mess. And I know people are paying attention to that, but I think that don't let the absolute absurdity of this administration distract you from these sweeping policy changes that are going to take decades to correct. Hopefully not, but it really feels like it's going to be an uphill battle to get back to where we should be in the United States. So thank you for watching. I'm your host, Ashley Steele with Porn and Politics. I'm Ashley Steele, and you just watched my video. Please don't forget to subscribe and like any videos that you would like to see more of. Additionally, if you want to become a supporter of my show, you can click on the Patreon link below. I have a goal and a dream right now, which is to create as many videos as I can to counteract the propaganda and lies that are happening right now in the United States. I believe that through spreading information and sharing knowledge that we can get people to understand the truth. And so my goal is to spread truth. And if you want to become a warrior in that fight with me, please subscribe, share my videos, and absolutely become a supporter on Patreon if you're able. Thank you so much.